I'm delighted to ask you to join me in welcoming John Metz.
Gosh, thanks, y'all. It's a real privilege to have the opportunity to share some thoughts with everybody this afternoon, especially when I look out and see how many friends and family members took the time and in many cases traveled great distances just to be here with us today. So thank you, and to our amazing staff and faculty. It means a lot to us that you're here. And I also don't want to miss this opportunity to especially thank Dean Oster. We are a very lucky class to have had the pleasure of your deanship from orientation to commencement, and we wish you well, and your very well-deserved sabbatical. This is a day of bittersweet joy as we both celebrate our accomplishments and say goodbye to a place we've come to love and people that we have come to know so well. It is hard on this day not to be a bit nostalgic, so if you'll indulge me, I would like my classmates to just try to recall the moment that you found out that you were coming into SOM. Think about where you were and what you were doing and how that news made you feel. I hope that this is a happy and joyful memory for everybody. It certainly is for me. I remember I was driving on a sunny Wednesday afternoon in some suburb of Fort Worth when I got the call from Bruce, which was quick and dizzying, and I went ballistic. I really couldn't believe it. I was over the moon, and I thought, in this moment, in this amazing little moment, my life and my future just changed. My next thought was, you should probably get back in your lane. And my next thought, which was really the one that stuck with me in the weeks and months to come, who do I know who will give me $100,000? Yes, tuition is hefty, but we all found a way, usually through the loan ferry. And now that we're all savvy business gurus who think of everything in terms of dollars, we're obviously all asking ourselves, was this a good investment? I hope that everyone would automatically say yes, but in case there are any skeptics remaining, I want to take this opportunity to prove to you empirically that your $100,000 was well spent. How do we think about this? Well, I suppose we could project future cash flows from our awesome fancy jobs and discount them at the appropriate cost of capital. Unfortunately, I do not know how to do this. I was sick that day. So instead, I've simply itemized some of the value that we got during our time here just to see if it would add up to $100,000. Of course, even that's a little tricky, so I'm going to need some help. So I whipped out these babies. I hope you guys are ready to be prepared. For those who don't know, these are cold calling cards that our professors used to make sure that we were on our toes and deeply uncomfortable. Let's start in the classroom, where we were challenged to think critically, learn from one another's experiences, and if we were really diligent, master the art of one-handed self-texting. It was here that we learned how to calculate deadweight loss, do a conjoint analysis, price a call option, estimate expected wait times in queues, and predict the number of necklaces Madonna will wear at her next concert. We learned that innovation is a process. HR is a set of promises. Our careers will have many twists and turns. Lobbyists aren't all bad. And having no money to start your business is not a barrier to entry. To graduate, we needed 72 units of credit, and each unit of credit represented 8 hours and 40 minutes of classroom time. So that means we spent 624 hours in class. According to a Qualtrics survey I sent out, which was completed by 2 people, I've concluded that the average SOMer could be willing to leave class 1 minute early for $1. So at the rate of $1 per minute, our classroom experience was worth... Jeremy Foster. I get that too, Jeremy. Thank you. I will always be grateful that you were in my small group. Now let's move on to activities. SOM has 49 clubs. And in them, we learned how to craft a consulting case. We trained to be winners on Wall Street. We learned about art and faith, and how to be a good ally, and how to describe a good wine. We played hockey and soccer, and even skied, or as I like to call it, panicked and fell down a mountain. The market price for this bundle of advisory and recreational services is about $1,000 per year, and each of us belong to 6.28 clubs on average. So over 2 years, that is... Carolyn Esposito. We're awesome. Math major. That brings us to $50,000 even, so we are halfway to our total. Now let's move on to guest speakers. We heard from women and men of remarkable accomplishment who came to campus to teach us, inspire us, and level with us. During our time here, we heard from Pepsi CEO Ingenuity, Texas billionaire T. Boone Pickens, Jerry from Ben & Jerry's, Procter & Gamble CEO Bob McDonald, Zipcar founder Robin Chase, and Time Warner CEO Jeff Bucas. And if you got into Sonnenfeld's class, you really got your money's worth. For our guests who don't know, Professor Sonnenfeld has amazing connections and runs a CEO summit every year in addition to his teaching. A ticket price to that summit is $5,000. So I figured that we easily got a summit's worth of speakers every year. And so over 2 years, that brings us to Sarah Ham. Yeah, that one wasn't that hard, but that was great. Appreciate that. I'm really glad you guys came prepared. This really reminds me of Fall 1. Remember Fall 1, Glenn? It was hilarious. So we're up to $60,000. And when you factor in the free lunches during these and other events, we're suddenly up to $90,000. And for many of us, we're also up to an unprecedented body mass index. The remaining 10 grand is really easy to account for when you add in our international trips, mailboxes, complete with a complimentary subscription to The Observer, free lockers, steep discounts at Yale's attractions, free beer and wine, and if you got there in time, food at closing bell, travel reimbursement for recruiting events, tech service, mental health service, dental benefits, a slew of self-assessment tests and career advisory tools, free Wi-Fi, free computers on which to use the Wi-Fi, point-to-point shuttles, and mountains upon mountains upon mountains of corporate swag. We will never want for a frisbee again. All added, $100,000 is a bargain for what we got. But of course, the most important benefits that we gain from our MBA experience can't be valued in dollars. We became more confident, but not overconfident. We learned that becoming our best does not mean becoming someone else. It means owning our quirky personalities and original ideas that make each of us irreplaceable and ungeneralizable. We were urged to think of the world's problems as opportunities to contribute, as calls to action. And we began to believe that we could lead others and one another into higher states of happiness, health, education, connectivity, environmental compassion, financial independence, artistic creativity, or wherever our passions lie. In essence, our tuition bought a new future for ourselves and the means to help build a better future for others. And perhaps most importantly, our tuition bought us one another. We are now entering a club known as the Alumni of Yale, exclusive in its membership, reaching all around the world. We are interconnected as one another's former and future colleagues, advisors, tutors, mentors, and friends. That friendship piece is something that I don't think a lot of us realized we were investing in when we first got here, because it is not explicitly accounted for in the price of tuition. But the truth is that long after we've forgotten much of what we learned here, when we have repaid the loan ferry, when the jobs that we're all so excited to start have made their way down to the bottom of our resume, when it becomes nothing more than a piece of Yale SOM trivia that these beautiful houses on Hill House were our second home for 2 years, our friendships with one another are what will remain, and hopefully strengthen for the rest of our lives. And I don't think we can put a price on that.
John Powell Nets.